Real quick tutorial. There's a posting by the Schemer, I believe is the name on the forum, on springs. Springs for Heidi, I believe it was. Let me go back and look real quick. I gotta tell you, yep, the Schemer. No spring. And this was posted last month. Last month it probably didn't have any spring, but now it does. All you have to do is take Heidi, bring her into iClone6, hit modify, and then if you have 3D Exchange 6, edit in 3D Exchange. And what it'll do is it will take her directly into 3D Exchange, and then you have to modify the character. It's a non-standard, so all you have to do is add springs to her. And you of course, would have to identify where the spring's going to be. You can go edit springs if there's any extended bones. Now you see there's breast nub, and so wherever you want the springs to be is where they go. And you've got the nubs themselves are just on the end. That's not going to really do much. You just need this. So you go to active spring. And of course you can go back one. That's a rib twist, which you don't really need. So you just go on each side, left breast, active spring. Just leave it translate to start with. Go to the other side, the right breast, make it an active spring, and then put it in a walk cycle, like a female walk, and you can look at her and see what's going on. It's probably got too much compression there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put her into a catwalk. That way we can see her turn and see what the breasts are going to do. And you can put it in the back side too, the abdominals, the hip area, whatever. I'm going to put it on loop, and we'll come to a side shot. It would be nice if we had a follow cam here, but we don't have one. So it's a little loose. I'm going to hit stop, and I'm going to take the bounciness down a little bit for both left and right. You can click both and choose them both. And take the bounciness down a little bit. Give them a strength to have them return back to their normal position faster. Mass, of course, will cause it to drop. So I'm just going to leave it here. And then, of course, you can use soft or hard to make it softer, as in soft cloth, or harder, firmer breast. And then give it another test. And you'll see they don't collapse as much. It's not quite as much bounce, but there is some. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. And we'll catch her on a return trip. There she goes. Now there is some bounce, not a whole lot, because I increased or decreased the bounciness and give it more strength to return and give it more mass. Let's take the mass down and press play. And they stay up, but you still have some bounce. They don't compress as bad anyway. You can also try the rotate. You probably won't like that, but I'm going to put rotate on it anyway, just so you can see what happens. And you see how they collapse on the rotate because the springs are trying to go backwards to connect up with the first bone, which is the breast nub or breastbone here, or the actually the rib bone. So it's going to continue to do that if you use that rotate. You need translate. And of course you can go soft. Softer it goes, the more compression it can receive. See the way it bounces in and out. When she's walking, that's what's going to happen. All depends on what you want, soft or hard. A good place to do it to start with is always in the middle, which is what you're going to get anyway. And then you can move it from 1 to 8. Yeah, let's try a 3. And when you do 3, it's going to compress some, not a whole lot. You get some of the bounce, but it depends on what you're trying to achieve. And we'll just leave it at that for now and hit apply. And what that's going to do is increase or add springs to the character without doing anything. I've already added springs to her, just brought her into 3D Exchange. The spring or the bones have already been set off as extended bones, so you can use those for springs. And let her in, and she's already selected in iClone. Just hit apply to iClone, she'll go back, and then whatever motion you give her there, she will bring it back to use. So then you can come down here. You can take the avatar and you can adjust her springs, of course, in here. If you come down to spring, it says on, and that's it. She's got springs. Now you can edit it, of course, but we're not there yet. If I take and I give her motion, you can do a motion puppet. You can do whatever. I'm just going to go into content and give her a standard motion for motion plus, maybe a female. We'll just have her talk. You should see the action going on.
Have a seat. And let's start the class by trying to remember what we reviewed last week, what was covered, and your summaries about the lesson, as I am pretty sure that most of you do have an opinion.
You see a little bit of spring going on.
Am I right? Good. Let's begin then.
It's not a whole lot, but it is there. And then you can also, like I said, modify it again. You can come in here and you can say on or off. You notice it says the beta L breast. You can give it more bounciness, of course, in here. This is just going to be the first bone that was selected in the list in 3D Exchange. So if you hit play now, I just put it back to the beginning, you'll see it. It should move a little bit more, depending on how much motion she
reviewed last week, what was covered, and your summaries about the lesson.
Depending on how much motion you actually give her. This is just going to be the name that it gives it. Don't worry about the name. It's not going to mean much because you've got left and right. And of course you can change each one. Bounciness, take the strength down, give it more mass. And each one should react just a little bit differently. If you'll notice the right is compressing more. Because the strength to return back to its original location is missing. So you do have individual bone control inside of iClone6 now. That's just a real quick tutorial on it. Okay, and then I'll just go in here to content and I'll do stage, image layer, and then I go into my custom image layer and I put that in there. And there she goes. And this, I left it at the last settings.
And let's start the class by trying to remember what we reviewed last week, what was covered, and your summaries about the lesson, as I am pretty sure that most of you do have an opinion about both sides of the story. Am I right? Good. Let's begin then.
And that's it. You notice this sags, this stays up firm. Depends on the settings that you use in the panel. Just remember that mass will make it drop. The strength will cause it to return faster the higher the number is. And of course, bounciness is self-explanatory. Cricky out.